Here are 100 quotes from Plato. At the touch of love, everyone becomes a poet. Courage is knowing what not to fear. The greatest wealth is to live content with little. Wise men speak because they have something to say, fools because they have to say something. Human behavior flows from three main sources: desire, emotion, and knowledge. Necessity is the mother of invention. A good decision is based on knowledge and not on numbers. The beginning is the most important part of the work. Justice means minding your own business and not meddling with other men's concerns. One of the penalties for refusing to participate in politics is that you end up being governed by your inferiors. The measure of a man is what he does with power. He who is not a good servant will not be a good master. Knowledge without justice ought to be called cunning rather than wisdom. To do injustice is more disgraceful than to suffer it. An empty vessel makes the loudest sound, so they that have the least wit are the greatest babblers. The first and greatest victory is to conquer yourself. Opinion is the medium between knowledge and ignorance. Thinking, the talking of the soul with itself. Beauty lies in the eyes of the beholder. No man should bring children into the world who is unwilling to persevere to the end in their nurture and education. The price of apathy towards public affairs is to be ruled by evil men. Love is a serious mental disease. Ignorance, the root and stem of every evil. There is truth in wine and children. When men speak ill of thee, live so as nobody may believe them. Good people do not need laws to tell them to act responsibly, while bad people will find a way around the laws. The direction in which education starts a man will determine his future in life. Bodily exercise, when compulsory, does no harm to the body, but knowledge which is acquired under compulsion obtains no hold on the mind. We can easily forgive a child who is afraid of the dark. The real tragedy of life is when men are afraid of the light. The soul takes flight to the world that is invisible, but there arriving she is sure of bliss and forever dwells in paradise. Music gives a soul to the universe, wings to the mind, flight to the imagination, and life to everything. A house that has a library in it has a soul. Poetry is nearer to vital truth than history. The object of education is to teach us to love what is beautiful. He who commits injustice is ever made more wretched than he who suffers it. The heaviest penalty for declining to rule is to be ruled by someone inferior to yourself. All learning has an emotional base. You can discover more about a person in an hour of play than in a year of conversation. The madness of love is the greatest of heaven's blessings. A hero is born among 100, a wise man is found among 1,000, but an accomplished one might not be found even among 100,000 men. There are three classes of men: lovers of wisdom, lovers of honor, and lovers of gain. He who wishes to serve his country must have not only the power to think, but the will to act. This and no other is the root from which a tyrant springs. When he first appears, he is a protector. If women are expected to do the same work as men, we must teach them the same things. Do not train a child to learn by force or harshness, but direct them to it by what amuses their minds, so that you may be better able to discover with accuracy the peculiar bent of the genius of each. No law or ordinance is mightier than understanding. He who learns and learns but does not practice is like one who plows but does not sow. Justice in the life and conduct of the state is possible only as first it resides in the hearts and souls of the citizens. The wise man will want to be ever with him who is better than himself. Good actions give strength to ourselves and inspire good actions in others. The life which is unexamined is not worth living. How can you prove whether at this moment we are sleeping and all our thoughts are a dream, or whether we are awake and talking to one another in the waking state? Character is simply habit long continued. Every heart sings a song, incomplete, until another heart whispers back. Those who wish to sing always find a song. False words are not only evil in themselves, but they infect the soul with evil. A wise man speaks because he has something to say, a fool because he has to say something. Excess of liberty, whether it lies in state or individuals, seems only to pass into excess of slavery. The beginning is the most important part of the work. Man is a being in search of meaning. Justice means minding your own business and not meddling with other men's concerns. The greatest mistake physicians make is that they attempt to cure the body without attempting to cure the mind. Yet the mind and body are one and should not be treated separately. Wealth is well known to be a great comforter. A man may be a politician or a businessman. He should not be both. Lack of activity destroys the good condition of every human being. The difficulty, my friends, is not in avoiding death, but in avoiding unrighteousness, for that runs faster than death. Ideas are the source of all things. Knowledge is true opinion. For a man to conquer himself is the first and noblest of all victories. No one ever teaches well who wants to teach, or governs well who wants to govern. Time is the moving image of eternity. There is no such thing as a lover's oath. Lack of discipline leads to disaster. When the mind is thinking, it is talking to itself. The measure of a man is what he does with power. Be kind, for everyone you meet is fighting a harder battle. No man should bring children into the world who is unwilling to persevere to the end in their nurture and education. Truth is the beginning of every good to the gods, and of every good to man. Rhetoric is the art of ruling the minds of men. An unexamined life is not worth living. Justice is the excellence of the soul. There must always be a balance between freedom and order. Good people do not need laws to tell them to act responsibly, while bad people will find a way around the laws. The true lover of knowledge naturally strives for truth, and is not content with common opinion, but soars with fearless freedom to the heights of wisdom. The greatest wealth is to live content with little. The greatest privilege is to know. Philosophy is the highest music. Happiness springs from doing good. Virtue does not come from wealth, but wealth and every other good thing which men have comes from virtue. We are twice armed if we fight with faith. The true philosopher desires death. Philosophy begins in wonder. The learning and knowledge that we have is, at the most, but little compared with that of which we are ignorant. Wisdom alone is the science of other sciences. The direction in which education starts a man will determine his future in life. When men speak ill of you, live so as nobody may believe them. Ignorance, the root and stem of all evil. Wealth is not in having great possessions, but in having few wants. He who refuses to rule is liable to be ruled by one who is worse than himself. All learning has an emotional base. Excellence is not a gift, but a skill that takes practice.